I want to have a real conversation with you guys today. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of what I am about to say might sting a little bit, not because I want it to, not because I'm trying to be inflammatory, truly, but because I have been in this industry as a photographer for over 18 years now, 20 plus years, but really 18-ish as a senior photographer. And I've watched the same patterns show up over and over again in photographers who are talented, who are hard workers, who genuinely want to build something and who are still not where they want to be. And I'm tired of sort of dancing around it. So if you're good with a little real talk, stay with me because by the end of this episode, you're going to understand something that most educators in this space are never going to really tell you. And it has nothing to do with hashtags or posting schedules or preset packs. Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we blend rock solid tips with a little bit of magic. I'm your host, Renee Bowen, a life and a business coach, professional photographer, Diet Coke lover, and mom of 3 grown kids. Here to walk you through all the ins and outs of identity-based marketing and how to run a business that feels like freedom. Welcome back to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo. I am your host, Renee Bowen, luxury portrait senior photographer, headshot photographer, NLP certified coach, and your slightly bossy business bestie. And I'm so glad you're here today because this episode has been building in my chest for a while. And I finally decided to just say all of this out loud. I'm definitely in my effort era. Okay. So today we're talking about 5 things that you need to stop doing if you are ready to actually be seen in your business. And when I say seen, I mean both the literal show up on Instagram version and the deeper version, the one where the right clients actually find you and feel you and book you without having to twist yourself into 17 different versions of a photographer you are not. Because I see a lot of that happening right now. This episode is for you if you are a photographer who's working hard, showing up, doing things, and still not getting the traction that you want. If you're watching other people have what feels like the business you want and you can't figure out why it's not yours yet, and if you are posting when you feel inspired and then going dark when you don't, and wondering why none of that is actually converting. So if you've taken courses, followed advice, tried strategies, and none of that has stuck the way that you had hoped, okay, this is for you. And if you feel a little called out by the time we get to the end of this, I think that's a good thing. It means that what I'm saying is actually hitting, and I do say it with so much love. Okay, let's get into it. Number 1, stop scrolling other photographers' feeds and calling it research. Okay, I know I'm coming in a little bit hot with this one, but stay with me for the reasoning. I've kind of talked about this for years, but I want to frame it for you in a slightly different way. So you open Instagram, you tell yourself that you're going to go check on your notifications, maybe post something, maybe see what's happening, and then you end up on her page. You know the one, the photographer who seems to be booking constantly, who has this aesthetic you have been trying to figure out for 2 years, who just posted a reel about her sold out calendar a year in advance, and you can feel the twist in your stomach before you even finish watching her reel. And you sit there and you scroll some more and you tell yourself it's research, but it's not research, it's comparison. And those 2 things are doing completely different things in your brain and your business. So here's what's actually happening when you do this. Okay. Every time you land on somebody else's feed and feel that particular cocktail of admiration and inadequacy, your brain is running a comparison program. It's measuring the gap between where you are and where they appear to be. And when you do that over and over again, you start to teach yourself at a level below your conscious awareness that success lives over there and not here, that it belongs to other people, that there is something that they have that you don't, and that the distance between you and what you want is evidence that maybe it just isn't for you. So again, this is not research. This is a slow drip of self-doubt, just disguised as productivity. Here's what I want you to really hear. That feeling when you feel like you're on her page, that twist in your stomach or that pull, that's not a sign that something is wrong with you. That is your GPS. Your jealousy, and yes, I'm calling it that, is showing you exactly what you want with precision. So think about it. You don't get that feeling when you see a different kind of entrepreneur posting or a different kind of business, or maybe even a different niche of photographers page. But you do feel it when you're looking at someone who is doing the thing that you want to be doing at the level you want to be doing it. And that feeling is pointing at something very real and specific. The problem is not that you feel it, the problem is what you do with it. And most photographers use that feeling to torture themselves. They scroll more, they compare more, they spiral more, and then they come away feeling worse about their own business and no closer to building what they actually want. Okay. The cortisol goes up, the adrenaline is up, the brain is in threat mode, cannot access anything. And you close the app feeling like you're just really behind, you're doing it all wrong. And like everybody else has something figured out that you obviously missed. But here's what I want you to do instead. The next time you feel that pull, stop. Ask yourself, what specifically is making me feel this way? Is it her bookings? Is it her prices? Is it the way her clients look at her in the behind the scenes content? Is it the confidence she seems to have in her own work, the way she talks about it, the way she shows up about it, the way people respond to her? Whatever the specific thing is, write it down, because that thing is telling you something about what you want that is genuinely worth paying attention to. It is your GPS pointing at your North Star. If you let it be that, and then I want you to close the app, like that's it. We're not going to keep going down that rabbit hole. What is the information that you can get from this? Is there something valuable in that information? Because if it's just straight jealousy and you're letting yourself swim in all of these emotions, that's not productive. But if there is something productive at the very bottom of it, if it is triggering something for you, it's very possible that that trigger could lead you to something pretty awesome. But you have to be open to that. And you can't be open to it when you're in like fight or flight. Okay. So you need to close the app. You need to let that piece of it go and then go do something, even if it's very, very small, toward the thing that you want. Because what I know after a very long time in this industry, her results did not come from just strategy alone. Okay. I don't even know who she is. I'm just telling you, I can promise you it's not just from like some random strategy. They came from the combination of her strategy and her identity resonating. And you can study her strategy. You can take notes on her account. You can reverse engineer her posting schedule. You can even copy exactly what she's doing, but you cannot borrow her identity. And that's the thing that you're probably after. There's probably something in her content that is triggering you for a reason, because you know that that's inside of you as well. And you are making yourself small. The only thing you can ever build anything lasting on is yours. Okay. So the next time jealousy shows up while you're scrolling, I want you to just screenshot the thing that triggered it and ask yourself, what specifically is this telling me that I want? And write it down just as information. Don't give it too much meaning. And then close it and go do something about it. Because if you just allow yourself to swim in this, that's not productive. Okay. You have control over where the rest of those thoughts go. You might not have control over her popping up on your feed, but you do have control over what you do next. You also don't know the inner workings of her business. A lot of the things that you are coming up with, you're just making up in your head because you're not inside her business. You don't see her numbers. So allow yourself to feel what you need to feel and then do something productive with it. Because if you are this triggered, there's a reason for it. But you have to allow that to come in. And you can't do that when you are in like fight or flight and in stress mode and trying to build your business on someone else's identity. That's just not going to work. All right. Number 2, stop letting AI do your thinking for you. Okay. I want to be very clear about something before I get into this one, because you know I love AI. Claude is my BFF right now. I do use AI daily, frequently. I have built custom AI tools specifically for photographers, for creatives. And I do think it's one of the most powerful things that has happened to small business owners in a very long time. It saves me a lot of time and a lot of money. And most photographers are using it in a way that is actively making their business more generic, more forgettable, and harder to book. Here's what I mean. Photographers who cannot articulate who they are and what makes them different, who open ChatGPT or Claude and just ask it to write their bio, photographers who have never really sat down and defined what they actually want to talk about, who just ask AI to generate a month of caption ideas just out of the blue, or photographers who have done zero identity work, who hand the whole thing over to AI and then wonder why their content sounds exactly like every other photographer using AI. Here's the thing about AI that people don't really fully understand. It gives you the statistically average version of anything you ask it for. It is trained on everything, which means it generates the most middle of the road, most forgettable version of whatever you ask it for. It is the mean of all things, which is by definition not distinctive. And that is what we need to be doing more and more in this world of constant content. We need to be distinctive. So if your business already feels generic, giving AI the wheel is going to make it feel more generic, not less. And also, there's another little piece to this that a lot of people, I really have not seen anybody really talking about this, but using AI as a shortcut before you've really done the real work yourself is often just avoidance. It might seem like efficiency, but it's avoidance, because if you are letting AI do all your thinking, you never have to sit with the discomfort of actually figuring out who you are and what you stand for and what your brand actually sounds like when it's coming from a real person with real perspective. Why somebody should hire you over the photographer 2 cities over, who also does really beautiful work. The discomfort is where the gold is, and AI will happily help you skip it. So here's a better way. AI amplifies what you already know. It is a multiplier, not a starting point. Okay. You got to do the identity work first. You got to figure out your voice, your client, your messaging, and you can use AI to help you refine those things. And then you can hand it to AI and let it help you move faster, write cleaner, show up more consistently, in that order though. Okay. Not the other way around. The identity work really has to come first. And so many people just skip it or don't know that it is even a thing. I've built a custom AI tool called Senior Sunday specifically for senior portrait photographers. And the reason it actually works, the reason it sounds like the person using it and not like just super generic output, is because it requires you to have done your foundation first. It knows your voice because you built that into it. It knows your client because you defined it. It knows your pillars because you established them. And then it helps you execute a plan. So that is a really great use of AI. But if you guys are just sort of generically using it, you've never done a brand book, brand Bible, whatever you want to call it, knowledge base, you haven't done all of this deep work, the foundational stuff that needs to be done. If you haven't done that and you just kind of start using these AI tools, it's going to make you sound like everybody else. And it's super, super noticeable when you just copy and paste something from AI. Like, we know. And it's not just the M dashes, it's the cadence. So you got to be really careful with that. More and more, as more business owners start using AI, it's going to become more important for you to be more human. And yeah, you can use AI to help you be efficient, but your voice and what you really believe and the way you say it and your cadence and the way that you write, that's stuff that AI can't take from you and it can't replicate. And so if clients are looking for somebody who's real, because there's a whole anti-AI movement out there. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of young people really hate it. They're very anti-AI. So if they can see that you're just copying and pasting AI captions and just like kind of producing generic content, they're going to classify you as boomer AI slop. If you're a senior photographer, you need to be paying attention to that piece. So use it, but don't let it think for you. Don't let it take over. So speaking of tools that actually serve your business the right way, the ones that handle the technical and repetitive work so you can stay focused on the creative and the clients, I do want to mention Evoto AI while I'm on the AI topic as well. A lot of you guys already use Evoto. It's been a game changer for a lot of the photographers I know and for myself included. But if you don't know about them or if you haven't used them yet, I am partnering with them right now for their summer promotion because I really think some of these new features for sports and volume photographers are like lifesavers for you guys. So I do want to just kind of tell you really quickly what that is. So Evoto in and of itself is a complete AI photo editing workflow software. Okay. So when I say complete, I really mean complete. They can handle the culling, color grading, the portrait retouching, like the skin retouching is off the charts. The skin still looks like skin, but it's just so fast, so easy. Background adjustments, that you can do batch processing, obviously, and gallery sharing, like all at once. And I've been using Evoto for a really long time. Like, honestly, I think I might have been one of the first batch of users to try it. Now over 1 million photographers are using it. So here's what makes it different, I think, from anything else that's out there, because most AI editing tools apply changes globally, meaning they do the same thing to every image without really understanding what's in that image. But Evoto does per face AI retouching, which means it detects every individual face in your image and retouches each one specifically. You can really fine tune things, is what that means, right? You can do the skin retouching and the blemish removal, stray hair removal, glasses glare removal, which is, oh my God, the best thing ever. All done individually per face in an image and preserving that real skin texture, like I said. So it doesn't look overly filtered or like you just slapped a filter over it or anything like that. Okay. It looks like a skilled human did it because it learned from skilled humans who did it very well. And so I want to take a second to specifically talk to anybody who does school photography, sports photography, any kind of volume photography, really, because what Evoto has built for high volume workflows is kind of legitimately a game changer. And I don't really think enough people are talking about that. I don't really do volume work. So I don't really use these tools, but oh my God, I was playing around with them. And if I just think it's crazy and so awesome that we have access to this now. For instance, one of my one-on-one coaching clients does little kid school picture days too, in addition to senior portraits. So maybe you've got like 1 or 2 days to photograph 400 or 500 kids. Some of them might have acne. Some of them have glasses. And you can't control every single piece of that or how every kid angles their head. Some of them might have blinked or moved. Maybe your lighting isn't cohesive enough for some reason. Maybe if you're doing some outside stuff and the sun shifts, and then you've got to deliver all those images edited and retouched and in the right sort of workflow so that you're not doing this all yourself. The way most volume photographers handle it is that they batch the color correction, apply like a global skin preset, and then just hope. Because doing real individual face retouching on 500 kids is not really humanly possible in the time that you have. So things kind of slip. The delivery's fine, but it's not great. But Evoto kind of changes that. There's a specific product that they built called Evoto Instant. And Evoto Instant is specifically designed for high volume photographers who need fast, on the spot delivery. So, how it works is that you could shoot tethered, meaning your camera connects directly to Evoto in real time as you're shooting. And as each image comes up, it's being processed through your preset editing and your retouching settings automatically. So you set it up once before the shoot, and then Evoto does the work as you go. By the time your picture day is over and you pack up your gear, your edits are already done. You don't have to go back through them and do them later. You can just be done. So for a school photographer on a tight schedule, that's kind of amazing. And it's a competitive advantage, honestly. You can promise faster delivery, better retouched images, and take on more volume, honestly, because the bottleneck just got removed. And for sports photographers, shooting like a tournament with maybe hundreds of athletes across a weekend, or maybe you're doing media days, same kind of thing. The culling can be done for you, first of all, and all of that color consistency, the individual face retouching, all happening while you shoot. The AI subject detection identifies every athlete in every frame with precision. So you set that look up once and then it syncs across the entire set. And you walk out of that tournament with a gallery that's like ready to proof. And for the senior photographers listening, I know that that is probably most of you. Think about the workflow you have right now. How many hours do you spend in Lightroom after a session? How many of those hours are actually repetitive, adjusting skin, even with their new developments and their AI advancements, removing the same blemish across, like trying to sync up all of those masks? Evoto can handle all of that like in just a batch. You edit one image and then you just sync the adjustments across the entire set. And the per face retouching handles the individual variations automatically. One photographer said it cut her editing from 2 to 3 days down to 1 hour after a session. First of all, if you're taking that long to edit one session, it's really costing you at this point, like truly. I was fast before Evoto, but now it's just kind of ridiculous. And I actually use it as a game. I'm like, I wonder how fast I can get through this gallery because it is so crazy quick. Another photographer I know said that she can now book 6 clients daily, edit, and send all those photos at the time of the shoot. Like, this is a completely different business model. And so, for those of you who are maybe thinking about trying to dip your toe into volume, and maybe you want to run a different like arm of your business, because you can make a lot of money doing this. And if you haven't built up your maybe boutique side of your portrait business yet, or maybe you want to just diversify, this is a great thing to add. But you got to have the workflow and the tools to make it that way so that you're not inundated and it's not costing you money. Because yes, you could hire people to do this for you, but Avoto's a lot cheaper. The other thing I love about Avoto is that it works across desktop and iPad and mobile and all in sync. So if you wanted to review cold images on your iPad while you're still at the location, or check gallery delivery from your phone, it's all there. And for anybody who is worried about privacy with your client images, which you should be, Evoto is GDPR and CCPA compliant. Your images are never used for AI training. They process your files and they delete them. That really does matter when you're handing over photos of minors. They're running a really big summer promotion, like I said, all for sports and volume photographers. They're really sort of kind of diving into this World Cup trend and how, people are super excited about their sports. Well, maybe you would be excited about shooting sports if you had a better tool that made it easier for you. So you could make the kind of money that you want to make, but you don't have the headache, right? Because that's one of the main reasons I never got into this. The workflow was a nightmare. I was like, absolutely not. I can't. No. But I mean, honestly, this is doable. So if you haven't tried Evoto yet, you can, and you can get 15 free credits on me. So in the show notes, just hit the link where it says try Evoto for free, and you'll get 15 free credits just for signing up. So that's enough to kind of just get a little bit of a feel for what it can do with your own images. And then when you're ready to commit, use the code Renee07, also in the show notes, for up to 20% off. And I'm also participating in a giveaway with Evoto this week only. So it runs from today through next Wednesday. And somebody's going to win 100 Evoto credits. So here's how to enter that. Go to my most recent reel on my Instagram, the one that is promoting this episode of my podcast that was posted this morning. Okay. So if you're listening today on Wednesday, it's the one that was just posted. And I want you to leave a comment telling me which of the 5 things that we're talking about today on this podcast hit you the hardest. Just let me know which one it is. That's your entry. For a second entry, like an additional entry, you can share that reel, my reel, to your story and tag me so that I can see it. And I'm going to announce the winner next Wednesday. Okay. So do this while it's fresh in your mind. Just go and comment while you have a second. Go do that so that you can participate in this giveaway, because I really do think that more people need to be using Evoto. All right, the third thing is to stop treating visibility as something that is optional. I really need you to hear this one because it might be the thing that's costing you the most right now. Okay, I hear it all the time. I'm just not a social media person. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to post. I've heard all of these things so many times. And every time I hear it, the same thought comes up for me. That's not your personality trait. That's just fear. It's got a very convincing story. It's your unconscious mind keeping you safe. And so I get it. I understand why. And I explain that to people on discovery calls, on coaching calls all the time. But here's what I want to say about it too. Like, before you get defensive, I want to say that I get it, because showing up consistently, putting your face and your work and your opinions out into a world where strangers can see it and judge it and do whatever they want with it and have opinions about it, that's really genuinely hard. Okay. It's not comfortable. I have felt it too. I wanted to throw up when I first started doing any sort of like talking to camera videos. It was absolutely terrifying for me. And I know that it seems like it's easy for me to do it now, and it is because I've been doing it for a really long time. I started talking to camera before TikTok, before Reels. Okay. Before short form video was a thing. I was doing it on my Facebook lives, in my Facebook groups, on my Instagram story all the time. I had been doing that in small little increments because I'd stepped into coaching. But I also knew that my senior clients needed to have a point of reference for who I really was and the personality that lived inside of this shell. Like, how are they supposed to know who I am if I don't tell them? And now it's you have to do it. I'm sorry. Like, you don't have to show up on video all the time, but you got to have a little bit out there because our clients are trained for it now. Now it's mainstream, right? It's no longer just an option. So what I know about the photographers who are fully booked, okay, the ones that you're watching on your comparison spiral, they are not showing up because it's easy. They are showing up because they decided that being invisible was costing them a lot more than the discomfort of being seen on camera. Visibility is not something you do when you feel good about your work. Visibility is the work. So let me get a little nerdy with you for a second, because this is where the woo-woo stuff meets the science stuff. Your nervous system, specifically your amygdala, is constantly scanning for threats. That's its job. And for most people, the vulnerability of putting yourself out into the world and your work into the world where people can see it and judge it registers as a huge threat. Not like a real one consciously. You know that consciously it's not, but it's felt in the body. Your cortisol goes up, adrenaline goes up, your brain moves into protection mode, and then you suddenly have 17 perfectly reasonable sounding reasons why today is not the right day to make a post. Okay. You don't have the right lighting, or your caption's not quite right, or you want to think about it a little bit more. Whatever. This is not you being lazy or undisciplined. This is your threat detection system doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is that it can't tell the difference between actual danger and the risk of somebody not liking your reel. Okay. It treats both of them at the same level of alarm. And so your brain, which is trying to protect you, keeps you small. Here's the other piece, the one that imposter syndrome loves to hide behind. You're never going to feel ready to be seen before you are actually seen. Your nervous system learns that something is safe by doing it and surviving it, not by planning it more carefully, not by thinking about it all day, not by taking another course, not by getting more experience, but by doing it and living it and finding out that you actually didn't die, right? But did you die? So the fear you feel about posting, about showing your face, about saying the thing that you actually think, that fear doesn't really go away first and then you act. The action comes first. The fear just gets smaller over time because your brain has real evidence that you made it. So the photographers that you're watching who seem so confident and so natural in their visibility, they were not born that way. Trust me. Okay. They built it one uncomfortable post at a time, one reel that felt too vulnerable at a time. They just didn't stop when it felt scary. Some people do have a stronger threat response, and that is because of your programming. So that is when you seek help with a coach or maybe even a therapist, somebody to dig into that stuff with, because unless you work on that at the root level, doing it scared is going to feel extremely traumatic for you. So I don't recommend doing it scared if you have actual trauma, right? Please find someone to work with, someone who is trauma informed and not just like somebody who's going to tell you to just push through, because that's not going to work. But here's the thing about imposter syndrome specifically, because I do want to like highlight that. Imposter syndrome is not a sign that you're not ready or not qualified. It's a sign that your nervous system is trying to protect you from the risk of being evaluated and found wanting, right? Who is this person? How dare she say something that, why is she the expert, right? It's a smoke alarm going off for like a small little grease fire, but the alarm is real and it's loud. And the fire is actually manageable though, right? You just have to kind of actually open the oven instead of standing outside of it, listening to the alarm go off. So stop waiting for a post that feels ready. Stop sitting on the content that you have been holding back on because it doesn't feel polished or perfect enough. That raw, real, slightly imperfect thing that you have been afraid to post is probably the most valuable thing that you could share this week. Post it before you feel ready on purpose. All right, the fourth thing, we got to get through these. Stop copying a blueprint that was never designed for you. Okay, so this one's a little spicy, and I just kind of want to say that up front because I'm not really talking about learning from other people here. Okay, that can be healthy and important and how we all grow if you make sure that person actually knows what they're talking about. So definitely vet your sources. I'm talking about something different though. I'm talking about the version where you find someone who seems to have it figured out and then you try and replicate everything that they do, their pricing structure, their packages, their captions, their content pillars, their workflow, their client experience, down to the way that they talk about their work even. You follow their blueprint to the letter, and then you wonder why the results don't match. This is a little bit about the first thing we talked about, but it was built by somebody with a specific voice, client, their specific why, a specific set of life experiences and values and stories. Her results came from the combination of her strategy and her identity. And you can copy the strategy, but you can't copy the identity. You can only ever have your own. So when you try and take someone else's strategy or like copy what they're doing and just run it on your identity, one of two things happens. Either it feels like a lot of effort and forced and like you're constantly performing for a version of yourself that doesn't really fit, which is exhausting, or it works a little, but it never quite converts the way hers does. Because the clients who are drawn to her content are drawn to her energy. Okay. This all goes back to you needing to find out first what your energy is and highlight it and then use it, wield it. And I do want to connect this a little bit to what I said about AI because it's happening in both places at once right now. Photographers who have not done the foundation work are feeding generic prompts into AI and getting generic output. Okay. And since thousands of other photographers are doing the same thing with the same tools and the same prompts, you end up with an entire industry of content that sounds identical. Same words, same structure, same tone, same energy. And you just scroll past all of it because none of it feels like an actual real person with something to say or point of view. This was kind of an issue already. I've been around long enough to see so many changes in our industry. And for years, there was a particular kind of style that a lot of senior photographers were trying to emulate. It was like the thing to do. And now we're seeing a little bit of a different kind of style. And everybody wants to jump on that bandwagon. Okay. The reason why they want to jump on the bandwagon is because it's different. And then it isn't. So as soon as it becomes mainstream, then somebody wants something different. How about you think about how unique you are and do your own thing, right? Because that's what my whole platform is really about, is like you being the most you that you can possibly be. And I know we're inundated with content, but you've got to find a way to allow your own creativity to come through. And I will die on this hill. But when you do identity work and you really do that foundational work of your why and your purpose, that is the key. It's a gateway drug and it opens up the door to all the other stuff, but you have to do that work. You can't copy your way to being distinct, and you can't AI your way there either. If you had zero visibility into what other photographers were doing, what would your business look like? I want you to think about that. Like really try and sit with that for a second and try and imagine what that would feel like. What would you post about? What would you charge? What kind of experience would you create if you didn't know what anybody else was doing? What would you say to somebody who just inquired? Because that is the voice you need to be speaking from. And if you have a hard time accessing it, there are definitely tools and ways to get there. But I really hope that you do, because this is your actual brand. Okay. And it's the only one that you will ever be able to build something lasting on, yours. I want to tangent off for just a second because something just happened in the last week that threw everybody for a loop. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. If you don't know, there's a creator. She's been online for a little while. She's actually had a whole other business before this. And then she's been online since like last year and grew this huge platform. She kind of went viral and she's doing this challenge, this yapping challenge. And she made $1.2 million from this one launch. And when I tell you it threw people for a loop, like it has been so interesting to me, just like seeing all these different perspectives and takes on this woman's successful launch. Okay. I've seen everything from people wishing her well to like breaking it down to like how she actually did it to people talking about who is she to teach this, figuring out, well, she had this other platform before, so she obviously knew what she was doing, looking for ways to discredit her a little bit. There's so much, so much. If you're online at all, you've probably seen what I'm talking about. So the reason I bring that up is because it's kind of similar to this, right? Like people are jumping on a bandwagon. This is a trending topic. This is something that is happening in the zeitgeist, and she's getting a lot of attention for it. And so all of these other people want to have a say in it so that they can jump on this bandwagon and get the views, get the followers, whatever, have their take. And while some of it is valuable, I think, like maybe breaking down a launch or seeing, what kind of worked, what didn't, I just think it's really interesting how many people immediately get triggered by her and triggered like because they see how much money she made. All of that is just information. And so that is the same kind of thing as that I'm talking about here is this is just information that you're picking up from other people. We give it the meaning. Okay. And if you are super triggered by somebody, that is probably a mirror for you to look at if you choose to go, well, I wonder why that triggers me so much. Like, why am I feeling jealous or why am I feeling less than or why am I whatever it is? Okay. Don't beat yourself up for it. You're a human being with a lot of emotions, but look at it as information because that's what it is. And I do believe that if you're super triggered by something, it's an opportunity for you to look a little bit deeper so that you can dig into your own self awareness. And there's nothing bad that comes from that. Truly. It's about you understanding yourself more, understanding what makes you tick, the key to your why and your purpose. And also it is showing you contrast because if this is so triggering for a reason, like why do you feel that way? Is it because you truly do want to do something different? Okay, then do it. Right. But what isn't great is the lack mentality that I've seen from this whole thing. It's like so many people like coming from such a low vibe, pointing out her discrepancies or things that discredits or whatever it is. That's just lack mentality. That's coming from your own fear. That's coming from your own programming. And that is an invitation for you to look at that if that's kind of thoughts that you had with that. And look, I am a human on this earth. Okay. I'm not immune to any of this stuff either. So you better believe that I had a reaction to that as well. It's not that I just saw that immediately and was like, oh, that's amazing for her. I had that thought. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then when I start seeing all of this like barrage of people posting about it and, all of these different things, it's valid to feel, oh my God, I've been working for so long and so hard. Why not me? Right. And I know you guys have gone through this, like with other photographers or whatever creatives. You see somebody hit massive success. Maybe they have a viral video and then they get all these clients and they get all this attention. And you've just been in the trenches for 10 plus years. Like, what the hell? Why not me? Okay. It's normal for us as humans to feel that way. But that contrast is being shown to you for a reason. And that's really all it is at the end of the day. It's just contrast because it's showing you something from the other side. Do you really want that? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's an invitation for you to lean in a little bit and think about what you really do want. If it's not that, maybe it can bring you to a place of discovery that you hadn't been able to get to before without being triggered so much. The key is to not let it take you for a ride. not let it take you down anxiety highway and be like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to have that. I can't have that because this person did it and I'll never be able to do that. That's what I don't want you to do. Okay. That's not productive because, first of all, an abundance mindset, if you really want to come from an abundance mindset, what that means is that you truly, truly do believe that there is more than enough for everybody. Work, money, resources, housing, food, love, all of it. Okay. You want the best for everybody. If you really are coming from a place of abundance, you want the best for everybody and you want everyone to be abundant. So if you really are coming from that abundant mindset, then by proxy, there is more than enough for everyone. And if she can, you can. So use it as fuel, use it as inspiration. It's all a choice, is what I'm trying to say. All right. The fifth thing, so I can wrap this up, stop waiting until you're ready. I saved this one for last because I think it's the most pervasive and the most insidious, and it is really good at hiding. It hides behind very reasonable sounding language. I'll start posting more consistently when my portfolio is a little stronger. I'll raise my prices when I have more experience to back it up. I'll put myself out there when I figure out my niche. I'll reach out to that school or that boutique or that referral when I have more to show them. All of it sounds very responsible, strategic even, but it's not. That's your nervous system protecting you from the discomfort of being seen. And it's doing it by convincing you that you are one more thing away from being ready. But the truth about readiness that nobody puts on a motivational poster, or maybe they have, is that readiness is a feeling. It's not a destination. And that feeling almost never comes before the action. It comes after. Your brain learns that something is safe by doing it and surviving it. It's not the first time I've said that in this podcast, but it's not by having more information about it, not by being better prepared even. Okay. It's by moving through it and coming out the other side of it, which means the readiness that you're waiting for, you can't think your way there. You can't necessarily even prepare your way there. You can do your way there. So I do want you to hear that part very clearly. The photographer who is booking your ideal client right now is not more qualified than you. She might not even be as talented as you. She might have been doing this for less time than you, but she's more willing to be seen while she's still figuring things out, which I know really sucks. And in this industry, in this market right now, that willingness is what is making the difference. The photographers on your comparison spiral are not booking because they are more ready. They're booking because they moved before they felt 100% ready and they kept moving. And their nervous system learned through repetition that moving is survivable. Okay, that showing up is survivable. That the clients who are not for them will just keep scrolling and that's fine. And the clients who are for them will stop. All of that is survivable. Will there be people who talk shit about you? Yeah. Turn off your comments. Don't look at them, whatever you need to do. I want you to think about something specific though, right now. Okay. Not in a vague way, something very specifically. What is the one thing you have been telling yourself that you will do when you feel more ready? I want you to really name it, say it, write it. Is it the price increase? Is it a reel that you've been sitting on? Is it a partnership outreach that you have been writing in your head? A pitch to get on a podcast? The niche you've been trying to claim for yourself, or maybe website copy you've been meaning to rewrite? Whatever just came up for you, that's your thing. And I want you to do that thing or move toward the direction of that thing this week, not because you're ready and not because the fear is gone, but because you decided that waiting is costing you more than the discomfort of doing it scared. Again, I'm going to preface it by, if you have a lot of trauma and this is bringing up some very, very, very scary, unsafe things, okay, that's your line. You need to reach out to somebody. Don't do it by yourself. But for most of you, you can take a step. Okay. Because here's what I know. The thing that you're waiting to feel ready for is not going to start to feel easier later. It's going to feel exactly the same as it does right now. except you will have spent more time waiting. You'll be here in this exact spot next year, next June at this time, still thinking about it. And your ideal client will have spent more time finding someone else. The time is now, guys. None of us know how long we're here for. Make the most of it. I promise you, on your deathbed, you're not going to be worried about somebody who said that you looked super cringe in that reel. That's not what's going to matter to you. Okay, so let's pull back for a minute before we wrap up. Look at all these 5 things together very quickly, because if you look at all 5 of them, there's a thread that runs through every single one of them. And I want to kind of talk about that just for a second, because I think it's the most important thing that I could really say in this entire episode. Every one of these things, the scrolling, the AI, the hiding, the copying, the waiting, every single one of them is a symptom of the same root problem. You do not have a clear enough sense of who you are in your business to build anything stable on. If you identified with a lot of these things, this is the undercurrent. I'm not talking about who you are as a photographer, your style, your artistic eye, your editing, your technical skill. I'm talking about who you are as a brand. Okay. We have been in this mode of building a personal brand for years. It's what I built my entire creative team method on, by the way. That's one of the main reasons why my rep program is very different than other senior photographers' rep programs. It's the time of a personal brand. So if you haven't learned how to do that, this is your invitation. What do you actually stand for? What is the emotional core of your business? Who specifically are you here to serve, and why should they choose you? What makes the experience of working with you different from working with the photographer across town who also does beautiful, technically strong work? Because without that clarity, you scroll because you're trying to find the version of yourself that works, trying things on, all the different hats. And you hand things to AI because figuring them out on your own with your own voice feels too hard because you don't know what it is. You stay invisible because putting yourself out there feels really risky when you're not entirely sure of what you're doing it for. And then you wait because readiness feels like something that requires more information than you currently have. But here's what I wish somebody had told me 15 years ago when I was working around the clock and burning myself out and wondering what was wrong with me. Okay, this isn't a marketing problem. You can't strategy your way out of an identity crisis. You can't post your way out of it. You can't AI your way out of it. And you absolutely can't wait your way out of it. The photographers who are booked, who are charging what they know they need to be charging, and who are attracting the clients who are right for them, they are not necessarily better photographers than you. I can say that because I've worked with hundreds of photographers over the years. Okay, they're just more clear. Maybe they didn't start out that way, but that's where they got to. And that clarity is not mysterious. It's not something that you either have or you don't. It is buildable, but you have to do the work, the real work, the identity work, the voice work, the messaging. And then the strategy work on top of that foundation is like really, really strong and yours. And I've actually spent the last few months building something to help you with all of that. Earlier this year, I ran a 6-week program called the Senior Sprint. They worked with me directly for 6 weeks. And what came out of that was one of the most complete and effective things I've ever created. And I've been doing this for a long time. The Senior Sprint is a complete marketing system for photographers who are ready to stop guessing and start building something that actually works for them. It's 6 educational modules with a lot of other templates and bonuses built in, but built in a specific order, designed to take you from, I have no idea why my marketing is not working, all the way to, I have a brand, a voice, a content strategy, an SEO presence, a referral machine, and I know exactly what to do next. It is every single thing that you need to build your senior photography marketing plan. So I took the recordings and I made them into a course that anyone can purchase. I've also added a whole bunch of custom AI tools. I've got custom GPTs and Claude skills that help you with each part of the system. And if you don't want to use AI, You have prompts that you can work through on your own. There's a very detailed workbook for each section. There's also mission sheets for each module that tell you exactly what done looks like. So there's zero guesswork. It's step by step. And there's also lots of other good templates in there for you as well for client communication. Things like a Google review request email that actually gets responses and a 30-day content calendar. Tons of stuff. So the photographers who went through this live had results that I am really, really proud of. They are ahead of the game in a lot of ways because we talked about a lot of stuff that is new and changing in our industry. And the feedback I've gotten from these photographers has been really, really awesome. So I feel really good about offering this to you guys. It is not quite ready yet. I'm just sort of letting you know it's coming. I have to put the finishing touches on it. I've had crazy busy week. My daughter graduates on Friday with her master's, and I'm so, so proud of her. But that is going to be a lot. And I've got work all in between all of this as well. And I've got family in town. So my plan is to launch the sprint next week, but I'm opening up a wait list today. So the people who get on this wait list actually get two things. First access, so before the cart even opens to anybody else, and a lower price. Now, the senior sprint, when it opens, is already going to be highly discounted for like the first 3 days. But the waitlist people are going to get it for even cheaper than that. So if you've been listening to this episode and you've like nodded along and you're thinking, okay, this is all the stuff that I need a real foundation and a real system and not just like another basic strategy, join the waitlist to make sure that you're one of the first people to get access to it. As always, reach out to me with any questions. Renee at reneebowen.com or hit me up on Instagram in the DMs at Renee Bowen. All right, let's wrap up. I hope this episode was resonant for you. And if you felt called out, remember that means it's working. You can't change what you can't see, and now you can see it. So everything today that I mentioned is in the show notes. The Avoto link, the giveaway details, definitely go enter right now, and the senior sprint waitlist. Go take action on at least one of those things today while the energy is still here. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend. As always, leave a review, a rating. All of those links are below as well. So I'll be back next week as always. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Love you. Bye.